Hello, welcome to another Late Night Love. I'm Kristen. So let's dive in right away. This is a reading to give you some insights and validation to play with your curiosity about someone on your mind. So we'll look at a theme between you guys. We'll look at your energies, their energies, and we'll see what story wants to come up today. Capiche? All right. General theme, two came out. So the beauty in death and obsession. And obsession is reversed. I don't normally read these cards in reversed, but something is compelling me to do so. So this beauty in death card has been coming up a lot. Actually, obsession as well. So there must be some sort of collective theme going on over these last few months around what we are letting go of, what we are releasing, what we're letting die that needs to die, or what we're acknowledging that has died in terms of partnership in our life and what it means to us, and perhaps certain partnerships. This could be, some of us have recently broken up with someone and you feel there's a relief there. There's something about this breakup that makes you feel more free, more like a sovereign being. And it could have been someone that you really cared for very much. There was love, but it was time and it needed to go. It wasn't really what you were looking for. And it could have been that there was some different types of obsessions, or perhaps this particular relationship was representative of of an old cycle, or a cycle of your life that you're no longer living in anymore. And I think it's really interesting because sometimes we can have left a cycle of life, but it's somehow, we're still looping through it. We're still acting as if we're in this place when we're in this place, and we don't want to keep looping sort of in, the vortex of this old stuff. We want to move forward, move up and out and into expansion. And sometimes certain relationships, and they don't have to be all negative or all bad or all toxic. It just simply was perhaps bringing out qualities of yourself that you no longer wish to face forward in life with. It's not what you want to present to the world. It's not the kind of relationship that you see yourself, being long-term with. So as difficult as it could have been, there was very much a beauty in the release of that. Perhaps somebody was just making you feel like they were too much on you. And this obsession doesn't have to be like a negative obsession. It just could be, perhaps this person was obsessed with living a kind of life you didn't want to live. Perhaps they wanted something more traditional than you, or they wanted something less traditional than what you want. Or perhaps when you met, you were on a certain trajectory in your life, and that changed through career path, I think, for some of you, or certain personal growth or healing work that you've done around trauma, done around in looking at, shadow sides of yourself, looking at some of the stuff that was hard to look at about your past, familial things, perhaps deep ancestral stuff. And it just, as a result, it's changed you. And it's just, it makes the relationship a little bit lackluster. So, and it could have been that you were obsessed with a kind of a thing, or things that you're looking at, like, why was I obsessed with that? Why was I obsessed with having to have a certain kind of date every single Friday night? Or why was I obsessed with having to make sure that they texted me at this exact same time every single day? Or why was I obsessed with having them, ask me to marry them by a certain period of time so that I could have a wedding by a certain age, and the wedding would look like this? And you're like, wait a second, I'm not that person anymore. I mean, yes, maybe I want those things, but maybe I don't want them the way that I did a year ago or several years ago. it can be difficult to kind of really sometimes see how much we've changed until we are way down the new path. Or we could be so obsessed with personal growth and I have to keep healing, and I want to be more connected to my higher self, and I want to be better, and that we don't recognize that we've done a lot of that work and we've changed more than we think that we have changed until, we're presented with, the old, the old way that things have been done by ourselves and by someone else. And we realize that we don't really want them anymore. And there's a beauty in the discovery that we have changed. Regardless of what discomfort or sadness or grief might be around the letting go of specific people, that were perhaps quite important and very necessary in the process to get us where we are. Like, it's such an important part of our journey. These Death Doula cards always kind of go deep. All right, so there's a message there. Let's see what else is up. All right, let's see if this is a continuation of that or a different story. Let's see what we can get. So a card for you. Slow and steady wins the race. Being stable, being grounded. This is more than just an idea, and this is more than the beginnings of the curiosity, or this is not the beginning of the investigation. This is I figured some stuff out. I have some intelligence, and I want to move forward on this. But I want to make sure that I'm taking a pause and I'm being slow. So perhaps you've just met someone, or you're in a relationship with someone, and it feels maybe this is new. Maybe you've given up, this older way that you were with somebody else. Maybe this is representative of the old story or something that's leaving right now. And perhaps this is the representation of someone new that you're investigating, or just started dating, or it's a little bit fresher and newer, and you're not wanting to go so fast. You're wanting to take your time so that you don't kind of slip back into the old story or the old thought patterns or those cycles, which can be super easy. It's sort of, until we integrate the new, and integrate, how we want to bring, the new stories that we've created, the new habits, the new routines, the new ways that we think about ourselves and what we really want, until we can really solidify them in our lives. There is this sort of like, it's human to go back and forth a little bit. So this is you. This is somebody who doesn't really want to work. Perhaps they think that they've done a lot of work in the past, and they don't want to work. Feel free to slip and swap all of these energies around, because this could be you or them, and it can just get trip out with it. If you're swinging back and forth with different things, just pick it up and run with it. But I think somebody who is sick of having to work, it's like relationships are work. And so they're worried that relationship is going to be work, because they feel like in the past they've done a lot and they've created some really wonderful relationships, and I don't think this is a person that's had all these different traumatic, toxic relationships. They might have had their fair share, like we all do, of the typical things that happen in the complexity of being human and having a lover and having someone that we're in relationship with. Although there could be somebody, you could be, investigating someone, or in something with someone that was in something for 8 to 10 years. I'm just feeling with this 8 of Pentacles, it was like 8 years to 10 years. And I think this is someone that maybe never married the person. They were just with them in committed partnership. That's going to be there for some of you. And it's like they wanted something. I feel with these Pentacle cards here, wanting something that's solid and stable, and it looks and presents to the world as solid and stable. Like, yes, I'm committed to this person. And I feel like this other side here, they felt like they were doing a lot of work, and they wanted certain commitment milestones that they didn't get, or it fell apart. What's the bridge card between the two of you? So this is both of you not wanting to feel like there's going to be betrayal. That there isn't going to be this place of, I'm doing all this work, I'm putting all this time and effort, and it's not going to turn out the way that I thought it was going to turn out. I want to feel like there can be hope around love. And so it's like, let's take things slow. And this not having to do a lot of work, it doesn't have to be negative. I mean, yes, we want people who are willing to put in work because relationships are work, and that's clear and obvious. But I think you might have someone that does want to make sure that there is fun. I think that you may be falling upon or the new people that you're going to be seeing. Maybe you're chatting with several different people on an app, or maybe you dated one person once and you haven't seen them in a couple of weeks, but you've dated this other person a couple of times. You could be doing that, and that could be coming up with this Eight of Pentacles as well. I feel like it's wanting to make sure that there is fun happening. That's really coming, wanting to make sure that the process of getting to know someone feels fun, and it doesn't have to feel like you're jumping into something that feels like it's highly complex and wrought with all the typical human complexities from the get-go, that you're not left feeling drained, wondering, after a date. So it could be even okay. And I think for some people, you're resonating with, I went on this one coffee date and I had drinks with this guy twice. And then the guy from the coffee date asked me to dinner and we went, but then he had business trips, so I didn't see him. So I saw this, and I think that you're okay with it. And maybe that's new for you. And if that's the case, enjoy it as long as you feel respected and you're having fun. It doesn't have to be about jumping into some big, commitment right away. Maybe that's the lesson there. Nico loves the camera. He can't, whenever I turn it on, he just comes running. He's my star kitty cat. All right. Some stuff fell, hold on. So I think, because this came out in the reverse when I picked this, when it was on the floor, I saw it in the reverse. This is not wanting to be bored. So here, this is feeling very satisfied, which is absolutely wonderful. It can be attaining and really appreciating all the work that you've put into something and feeling that emotional support and feeling very satisfied. But it can be a card of complacency as well in the upright. So this is wanting to make sure that you don't feel complacent, perhaps in the past, right? In the past with the, with this sort of like, things have to be done a certain way. And you could have been that the person that you were with had to have things done a certain way. It began to feel boring. We have our Queen of Wands here. She came up in another love reading this week. So you might want to check out the other reading with the Queen of Wands, because this woman has the ability to keep things fresh and reignite the spark every single time. Yes, it's not a whirling dervish of like passion every single day. And I think that there is a real beauty in the everyday ordinariness of being in those places where it can be really yummy, just to wake up and have the coffee together and, you spoon for a few minutes. I was speaking with a really close girlfriend of mine who's been with somebody for a little over 5 years. And she was just saying how, he's busy and I'm busy. And sometimes we just get our time to spoon together in the morning. And then, he has to go out. He has 2 kids from a different marriage and he has to work all day. And sometimes he doesn't come back till 8 o'clock and they have takeout and they are together, as they eat the takeout and watch some TV and go to bed, because they have to get up really early and start the whole thing over again. But there's a deliciousness to it for them. There is this place of, really feeling that I'm with my lover, even though it is not like, completely insane, and we're having the kind of intimacy and that physical touch. And quite frankly, we're not having all the sex that we had in the beginning, right? Because now we're in real life, but we're still able to not be bored in those places. And I think that's what you're looking for. Like something was boring you, something was too complacent, and you're looking for someone who, is willing to kind of go there. And when life happens and life, is what it is, and that there's a place of deliciousness and a place of being able to find those moments that remind you that you're actual lovers. Tower reversed, which is, beauty in death. So Tower reversed, I think, is in the past really not wanting to let things go. Feeling like, will I not find somebody else? Will I have to go back out there and have to are there other options for me? And yes, of course, I think that you are seeing that there are other options for you. And it's okay to explore every single one of them and have fun while doing so. Because with the sun, this is a moment of enlightenment, that although you may not have the security of some committed partnership at the moment, you are exploring a new part of yourself that is important to acknowledge if you're going to get the partnership that you seek, because of the lack of reciprocity and the again, somebody feeling like they were doing too much work. Perhaps somebody accused you of making them do too much work, like they felt they were doing all the work in the relationship. And it's one of those moments where it's like someone's kind of like putting the stuff on you and shaming you. Like, I did all that for you. It's like, well, did I ask you to? Or I thank you, but I really didn't need all of that. Or, really, I just wanted to have spaghetti that night and cuddle. I didn't need you, I don't need you every week to do some lavish, big, date, you know what I mean? Or to put all this pressure to do these elaborate things. And then it was like, somebody felt the pressure of having to keep up sort of like these elaborate grand gestures. And ultimately they couldn't, and it made them feel tired. You might have been experiencing someone who was canceling dates or canceling things last minute, or saying that they were going to be doing all these elaborate things, and then really, ended up just sort of like going to their place at 10 o'clock at night for, you know what I mean? And it was like, well, you never really had to plan that to begin with. Why can't we, just order a pizza? So there's this sussing out of, what's important to me, what's not important to me. You're seeing the light about yourself, and that's what's really important. And you're putting yourself in a place where, somebody wants to bring everything crashing down and like make everything complex. And you're like, wait a second, no, this doesn't need to fall apart in some weird, complex, dramatic way. This can just fall away very gently. This could just be, I just say no to this. Thank you so much. But with thanks, I drop your obsessions. With thanks, I drop my own obsessions. And I'm willing to look at myself as the beautiful, sensual person who wants to walk through this life embodied, and with a person who is willing to come into their own body and acknowledge the wisdom that they have within, and not constantly be dictated by the ego or by some fake appearance of things. And it doesn't have to make them a bad person. They could actually be a really lovely person, but they care too much about what other people think, or they're simply they're simply feeling confused by their own past experiences. And I think you know, perhaps they might have they feel bored in their whole life in general. Uh, and it's not your problem to make their life exciting, but it is for you to feel excited for yourself and to bring that excitement as you come into partnership and begin to explore what union feels like when two people can be excited by each other, even when it's 8 o'clock at night and they're just cuddling with some leftover Chinese food and they're going to go to bed and wake up and snuggle and have coffee and start the day, and that makes life so worth living, just because you've got each other. And so that's what we're exploring. That's what you are being presented with in front of you, and that's maybe, perhaps, if there's nothing on the table, what you want to start dreaming and imagining and playing with, bringing into your life. Thank you so much. We both thank you. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed. It really helps the channel. It's something that you can do. And if you're enjoying the content and want to hang out with us more, please hit subscribe. I would love it. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.